Yeah, last feral dog I worked with was about 2 years ago. It was no, actually I had another one. So one was a husky, and it would shriek, like scream, for like everything. You put the leash on, you move, and it looked terrible. So like everybody, you're out here trying to take your dog to go potty, and it's shrieking just because it's so sensitive. Then I had another feral dog that I worked with. It was this year, February, March, and it was the same thing. If you pulled the leash a little bit, it would start shrieking, spiraling, peeing, pooping all over the place. It's very difficult. So she's not that.
No.
Thank God.
So she was a street dog. You said you got her in July.
We got her in July. Also the age, they told us that she was born in May 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
I don't know if it's true or not. Like, they say that they can deduct this from the teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, but she was in a house for 9 months, and she was in another house, like the timeline.
Yeah, so
Line
she
shot.
came from Dominican Republic because they
Closed the
the
shelter.
rescue place, and so they took here like 80 dogs or something like that. Then she was adopted by a family, then another family took her, and now us.
Do we know why they returned her?
Well, I can imagine now. I can tell you my point of view. So was not very clear, but she's chewing a lot.
Okay.
So what they told us that they didn't they couldn't take care of her anymore. But so when we adopted her, she was under fluoridantine, like kind of Prozac for dog, like a drug. Like
fluoxetine.
Fluoxetine, yeah. So it seems that she took that drug for a couple of months, but she was super numb, like super quiet.
Yeah, we
nothing.
changed after 2 days, so it's tiny bit.
She was not eating. Okay, was the adoption also in place? So, but she was very, very quiet. And then we start reducing the drug. Now she's not taking it anymore.
Okay.
And then through adjusting through our, let's say, house, the personality started to come out more. So basically, what she does now, chewing a lot. Like she's chewing a lot.
Like furniture?
No,
Furniture,
toys.
no, but everything else. Shoes,
clothes,
yeah,
toys.
can be even rugs, things like everything.
And you give her stuff to chew on, like bones and antlers and
I
everything?
did it, yeah, we did it.
And then she ignores those and chews on the
No,
other
no,
side?
she chews everything.
She does that. She has that attitude.
Okay. Okay.
And, but yeah, I mean, the bones, she's not chewing the bone.
No, she's always chewing. She's always going between things.
Yeah, so we cannot trust her to be around the house completely free. I was a little bit stressed also the first time we met.
It's easier now, but she has those stress phases when she needs to chew something.
I see. Okay.
Then she gets in, lie there quietly for hours and do nothing. So it's not constant per se. But
no,
like,
comes, up and, And then the other thing we noticed that she needs to run, like now, even 10 minutes of running, and then she's quiet. What else we noticed?
She's beginning to bark again. She didn't bark in the beginning.
She was not barking at all in the beginning.
Okay.
And now she's barking,
Okay.
which I don't know if it's positive or bad, but at least she's active, you know, she looks like she's alert in a way. What else? She doesn't respond clearly to commands. So right now we would leave her. She would not go in the street, but at the same time she would not come back to us.
She would come eventually, but she gets so caught up in the game. She's playing with other dogs and she gets very excited. She loves this. She's a teaser. She's like she loves to steal the balls from other dogs and like tiny bit.
And then
annoy them.
Then the other thing that I think is getting better, I had the feeling she was constantly hungry. I don't know if it was because we reduced the medicine, but she was constantly but literally when I wrote you, like was a moment where she was hunting for food constantly. And at some point I'm like, maybe we are not giving her enough food at all. So I changed the food from, this just food
for
dogs. Into the fresh that they produce and giving a little bit more. And now I feel it's getting better, adding some rice in it.
Okay.
But that's why I was also asking you some help on the food.
Flea feeding.
Yeah, because I'm like, maybe she's not getting enough food.
I mean, she looks like a good weight. Do you know how much in total she gets for a day?
Yeah, she gets, I know it in grams though.
Can you tell me in grams?
So it's it's 12 oz
Okay.
of beef
Okay.
plus rice
Okay.
and 22 of venison,
Okay.
venison plus rice
Okay. And for the day
for the day
in total?
in total.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that looks to be fine. Because her weight, like looking at her here, so for a dog, if you see this for their ribs, they're too skinny, right? It should be something like this where you can feel a little bit of meat or fat or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you're not feeling like this. And even just by like eyeballing her, like she's even got the chest into the thin waist here. So it looks good. So I think with whatever you're doing is fine.
Okay.
The bags aren't always right. You know, most bags tend to overfeed. Okay. It doesn't sound like yours was overfeeding, because I get clients who are like, you know, my dog's not eating everything, this and that, or I can tell because when they poop, a dog typically will poop the number of meals plus one as a variable for the day. So if you feed her twice a day, I would expect 2 to 3 poops a day. Okay.
Yes, she
So if
does too.
We have 2.
Yeah, so that's good. If a client notes, I feed my dogs 2 times a day and they poop 4 to 5 times a day, I know they're overfeeding.
Ah, okay.
You see that?
Okay.
So she seems to be right in line. You might get the, you know, again, it's a variable. One day she poops 3 times, it's fine. But when every day it's 4 or 5 poops, we
Okay.
know for sure we're overfeeding.
Ah, okay.
So I think whatever you're doing is fine diet-wise. Anything else?
No, you know, not really. She seems to get into some kind of stress phases.
Okay, just at home. Like you said,
In
that she'll
general,
be fine,
in
and then all of a
general,
sudden she's stressed.
Yeah, it's like.
Do you,
I don't know if it's boredom or stress or whatever. It's like she gets
Even if we
frustrated.
are in the street, like on the leash, she might start
Yeah,
pulling the leash
yeah,
like
she
crazy.
follows every squirrel and everything. She's very
But
smelling a
because
lot.
also,
She's very-
I don't know if she's afraid or anxious. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah,
Now she's quiet. She's
yeah,
quiet.
I was gonna say right now she's fine.
She ran a bit, and then also, I think she's adjusting to this environment. She's adjusting to daycare, and this is really helping her. I noticed that if we go out of the routine, like we went to Michigan once, she came with us. She was very nice because we were in nature, so
No,
she
that
really
was easy.
enjoyed. But then, I don't know, she came back, she had diarrhea for 3 days, you know, those kind of
Makes sense.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. Because if she's been to 3 different homes, because you'd be the 3rd, right? That's
Yeah.
a lot of change for the dog, a lot of stress. Plus, if she was on the street for a bit, right? And now with you, she's got, you said July, August, September. So we only got 3 months really
Yeah.
of consistency, right? And you're still trying to figure
And
it
it's
out.
middle of July, so it's not like
Yeah.
3
Oh
months.
yeah. So you know, so dogs typically take 2 weeks to a month to settle in, for the most part. Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of clients want to know, my dog was perfect for the 2 weeks, month, whatever, and then they started lunging at dogs, or then they started biting people, because it takes roughly 2 to 4 weeks for them to find their place within the home. It takes about a year for them to acclimate to routine. Okay. So that's why I tell my clients, if you adopt a dog, most people go mi casa, su casa.
Yeah.
They let the dog be free. They leave the home. They come back. Dog destroys everything.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's new. But when we kennel them, it gives them a year in the kennel, right, to at least see what's going on. Oh, you go to work 8 to 5. You come back. We go for a walk. You come back. We eat dinner. We go to bed. I sleep with you in the bed. We wake up. We go pot. Right. They learn that routine, and then Saturday and Sunday we're home together. But it takes about a year.
Oh, okay.
And then afterwards, I'll tell the client, now you can start experimenting with letting the dog be out.
Oh, okay.
Because during that time, if they're under stress, if they're going to be destructive, it's going to be within the kennel,
Oh, okay.
or they'll destroy the stuff in the kennel. At least, I had a client, the dog chewed up all of his drywall, like 4 feet up, destroyed the doorknobs, right? And it sounds crazy, but the dog literally, like in one day, just came home and he destroyed everything, you know? So all of this for me makes complete sense. She's making good progress because you've already noted some stuff. There might be a cap where if you leave it as is, like that might be the best you'll get. Obviously, if we don't push for more, you're not going to get more. In
Yeah.
some cases, the dogs will. Every case is different. I can't predict.
Yeah.
I get cases where I think it's going to be very simple. It's very difficult. I get cases that think it'll be very difficult, and then they're going to be very simple,
Yeah.
right? So I just kind of explain everything to the owners and go like, this is what you can expect. And then if you're fine with any of this, then, you know, we can move forward. But yeah, all that sounds normal to me. Yeah, like right there, you see how she got spooked?
Yeah, she has.
So I'm talking, and I said, oh yeah, and that for whatever reason caught her off guard.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
raising your voice.
Yeah. So, but her attention, interesting, didn't turn to me, but she's doing good. You see how she's still neutral? Tail is flat, back is nice and even, right? Like she didn't tuck her tail or anything like that. Okay. So, the obedience stuff I'm not too worried about. Obedience is always easy. Okay. It's the behavioral stuff that's more difficult. The stuff that you're noting to me would be mild.
Okay.
Okay. Since I specialize in aggression, that's usually where my tier is. Plus separation anxiety. Like if you were to leave, you know, if the dog is being destructive, how destructive are they being, right? Are they barking all day for 8 hours? Like that's what makes things really intense. From what everything you're noting to me, it really sounds like fairly mild stuff.
Okay.
Any other things that I should know about Ryna?
So we, from the beginning, we gave her access to the house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we are in, she is basically
Free roam.
free room,
Mm-hmm.
mostly.
But that's when you're home.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Then
fine.
someone is home. And that's it. And then when she's alone, we have a small room or like a corridor that we can close off.
Yep, that's fine.
And she owns that space.
Yes, as long as you're limiting her space, you're fine.
Okay.
I have, because people tend to take what I say like literally, right? And I go, I don't care as long as everything's working out fine, right? I just tend to not, if I leave, do complete free roam because of the stuff that I've seen. I've also had people do it and it's completely fine. You know, there's no predicting. It's just, I would rather prevent the damage than come back and have to pay for fixing the damage.
Yeah, like.
Do you think when it comes to the house, she should have one place to go? Because we have a three floor house, you know, the townhouse. The thing is, sometimes she likes to, so in the beginning she was used to sleep on sofa and bed, and I cut this habit immediately. So now she, basically I put like a
she has
sort of pillow in every floor where she can stay. But I wonder if it's better or she should have her go-to place only and that's it.
But she also sleeps in the stairs. She finds her place. They're always different.
Yeah.
That's all completely fine.
Okay.
The way I go by the dog's behavior. So if the dog, like for me, everything sounds fine.
Okay.
Right? If you don't want her on the furniture, perfectly fine. You don't want her in the bed, perfectly fine. Right? And then you're giving her an alternative, perfectly fine.
Okay.
You can have one, like you said, in each room. You can have one in one specific spot. It's really just personal preference. The only times I have issue would be like, I get dogs that it'll be the couple in the bed. The dog will be in the bed. The husband will leave, and when they come back, the dog won't let the husband back in the bed.
Okay.
So then I'll tell them, don't let the dog in the bed.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how often people have a problem with that.
Okay.
She doesn't sleep with us, so she always
Completely
sleeps
fine.
in her.
No, we let
space,
her
like,
downstairs
she can-
in her room.
Yeah.
She goes up. We have small pillows. She lies there, relaxes, but we always take her down.
Yeah, perfectly fine. Okay. So yeah, it's just personal preference. Because when I was reading your email, because I think you're talking about like the home setup and stuff like that.
It was more about this kind of things.
Yeah. All of that stuff is, again, personal preference. The only time where I may have an opinion is if I see problems with the behaviors. Like the room you put her in, perfectly fine. But then if you're telling me, hey, she keeps destroying the room, then I go, we need to go kennel. Does that make sense? Because she's still, even though she's confined, is being destructive, and that's not healthy. She's not being destructive. We don't got a problem.
No, and also
Completely fine.
she's also taking the small things. It takes like shoes and toys.
stealing,
She nicks them and then goes into her room and eats them.
Yeah. So that obviously we have to address. Yep.
I don't know if it's just social, if she's bored or stressed or something. Sometimes I think it's also kind of teasing us in a way.
So it can be a couple of things. One, if you're providing her with bones and everything, right? Are these bones always out or are they put away?
No, they're out.
They're out. She has a box she can easily access.
Okay. What I would do is I would put them all away.
Oh.
Okay. Because what happens is, people do this a lot with puppies, is they leave all the toys out, and then the puppy gets their shoe, and of course they go no, and they take the shoe, right? But now it's a game for the puppy because we're interacting, right? So we want to make sure that we keep our stuff put away, right? And then when I see her looking like she's bored, or like maybe that stress face you're talking about, then I go to my box. I grab a different bone each time, right? An antler or a bully stick or whatever, and I see if she takes it. Now, if she doesn't take it and is chewing on the rug or like is going off and finding something else to chew, then we have to address that. Most likely frustration.
But like now, she's beginning to like see.
Yeah. So this would be frustration because she's bored.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do you care that she chews sticks?
No,
No.
really.
Then I don't care that
personally.
she chews sticks. Yeah. Okay.
No, we know nothing, to be honest. So like,
Yeah.
the thing is, of course, this is our area. And people leave food everywhere sometimes.
I see,
She
sure.
can
That's the
she can go
problem.
for that tiny bit.
Yeah.
Which
And you don't want her to go for the food.
That's not.
I just don't think
Okay.
it's healthy for us.
Yeah,
That's
completely
not-
fine. Yeah.
Because we have this diarrhea thing that we will
Yeah,
kind
and
of
to be honest, like it is better to teach your dog not to eat stuff off the ground.
Yeah.
This happened many years ago. It was in the South Loop area. There was someone throwing out hot dog with poison in it.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, right? Stuff like that. So that's why I tell clients, like, they go, I don't care. And I go, perfectly fine, but just be aware that you do want to be mindful because there are bad people out there, you
Yeah.
know? But that's the way I look at it is it's a stick, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, I get clients who the dog will eat the stick and it's caused digestive issues, right? Or surgery. And then they go, then obviously we care, we got to stop that,
Yeah.
okay? So there's certain things, for example, you don't want her to chew the rug. I agree, right? Like, even
She
though,
hasn't really chewed any rug.
No,
She
she
just
didn't.
bit one.
yeah.
But it's not like she did it once. So it's not
okay,
like,
so it's not like a habit.
no, it's
No,
not
but
a
yesterday she was eating the basket, the laundry basket.
habit. Yeah, okay.
Yesterday evening.
Okay.
Okay. So it's just like kind of random things, shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we
So-
have flower pots. She has attacked a few flower pots, I think.
Like
But-
the plants itself
The
or the pot?
plastic, the plastic, yeah.
Okay. So that may be frustration. And like he noted, you know, he can see the stress face and then something usually follows, right? So it's most likely frustration.
So what is he annoyed about? Just being locked up, or
Like her stress.
yeah?
No, I think it's just who she is. It's
Okay.
so dogs, like for humans, for example, nowadays more people are wired to be anxious.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah. So that's just genetics, right? And we either, like I have a friend, for example, who has anxiety. He took medication for a few years. He ended up stopped taking the medication because he didn't like the way it made him feel. Instead, he started going to a therapist and started learning how to deal with the anxiety himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for dogs, unfortunately, it's just throw a pill at it. Fluoxetine, trazodone, gabapentin, everything's just throw medicine at it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it doesn't really do much. It usually
No.
sedates, like what you
Yeah.
know.
We on the same line. So
Yeah. So I'm about teaching the dog how to handle it better,
Yeah.
but also I have to teach the owners how to have that dog. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like if I have at my facility, like I told you guys, there's 50 dogs. It's
Yeah.
quiet here, right? Some of those dogs bite people, right? They don't bite my staff. They don't bite me. They don't bite the other dogs. Like they coexist. They understand because I know what I'm doing and I teach my staff how to do it as best they can. And because of that, I can have all sorts of personalities kind of coexisting. It's the same thing for my clients. Is if she happens to be a nervous, anxious type, right? Genetically, we cannot change that. We can help her learn how to handle it better. Like you want to chew on stuff, that's fine. Don't chew on the shoes. Don't chew on the laundry. Don't chew on the
Yeah.
pots, right? Deal with it a different way. Also, we can give her stuff like here, have this bone instead. If she has to outlet that, like I'm not against that. But at the same time, if she's like, I don't want the bone, I really want to chew on your shoe, then we have to correct that. Okay, so now there has to be consequence for that. Because even though she may be doing it because she's anxious, it's still not acceptable.
Yeah.
I think she has this social anxiety. So when
Okay.
she needs, for me at least, when she is around people, she needs to feel people around her.
That's what we would call it, like attachment.
Yeah,
There is a little bit
think
of that.
In a way, like she's grabbing my shield because she's grabbing my attention.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah, like with puppies.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So, you know, when we talk about consequence, you know, people tend to think that it's going to make the dog worse or it's going to hurt the dog and stuff like that. It doesn't. Like, I've been doing this for 15 years, the same way all through 15 years. I'm sure in the dog training world, there's like all these studies and stuff like that. I don't read them. And they've made no impact on what I do.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
People overthink things.
Yeah.
Dogs are simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all
So,
simple. So
is it Ryna or Ryna?
Rina.
Rina,
Ryna. Okay.
it's Icelandic. So
So Ryna, if let's say she's playing with the dog
Yeah.
and she annoys the dog,
Yeah.
what do you think the dog would do back to stop her?
Bite.
Bite, right? Boom. And that doesn't make the dog aggressive. The dog is just saying, I don't want you to interact with me or whatever, touch me,
Yeah.
right? And then she goes, oh, sorry. And then she goes and plays with a different dog, right? If we're at the playground or with the dogs, someone sees that, especially if it's a pit bull or a Rottweiler or a big dog, oh, your dog's aggressive. And I go, no, it's just setting a boundary, right? The person is just misreading the situation.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when we're talking about behavioral stuff. There has to be consequence that the dog understands and respects to deter things, but then also to help her learn how to handle things better.
Yeah.
Okay. Food is a great tool, positive reinforcement, but if a dog is too stressed, they're not going to take the food. Okay. So like I tell clients, if you're in a burning building, do you want to grab a brownie on the way out? And they go, no, I want to get out the building. I go, yeah, because you're stressed, right? So same thing with dogs. If they're too stressed, you try to offer them food or the bone or something, and they go, nope, I don't want it, right? So now we don't have anything to change the behavior, but with I use a training collar, I'll talk about that. With that, we always do, okay? Now, this is counterintuitive, because when we talk about, are you familiar with e-collar?
Yeah.
Do you know what it is, how it works?
Not much, but I understand that there is kind of is it correct? Like there's an electric sort of impulse that gets given to the dog.
So people tend to think of it as electricity or like shock, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
Have you ever been to a physical therapist or a chiropractor?
Yes.
Where they use the machine?
Yeah.
That's e-collar.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So people, they go, oh, the shock collar? And I go, shock comes from two places. When e-collars first came out many years ago, they had 3 to 5 levels. The one I have today has 127.
Okay.
5 and 127 are the same. I have 122 more divisions now. So it's much more nuanced. So if I go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's a very subtle sensation. But if there's only 5 settings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be very jumpy, very shocking.
Okay.
Also in the dog training world, there's a lot of drama. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's dogs that are dog trainers that only use treats, praise, affection, and then dog trainers like myself that use everything. We use food, we use punishment, we use everything, right? Is they use words like, oh, that's a shock collar, because it makes you think you're electrocuting the dog, so you don't want to find or look for a trainer that uses that tool.
Yeah, to be honest, there is a little bit of this, right? In terms of culturally.
Yes. And I know in like Europe and stuff, or in the UK, I believe it's banned.
Ah, right? I don't know.
Remote collar,
I don't know.
So.
But we have also noticed like the dogs are much better trained here in the US than in Europe.
Yeah, well, because here we can still use punishers, like prong collar and e-collar, okay?
Okay.
So I use everything, okay? But once a dog hits 6 months, like for puppies under 6 months, it's food, it's easy stuff. Unless I know there's a problem, it's just easy, okay? Once they're 6 months, I go, we can train this dog like an adult dog now, because that's when dogs tend to treat puppies as adults, is around 6 months, okay? So the remote collar is a muscle stimulator. I like to refer to it as a bite on a button, okay? So if Ryna is looking stressed and you know she's gonna chew on something, right? And she happens to have her collar on, I can actually correct that, okay? I tap on the button, it gives her the bite, and then you might see her just lay down and then fall asleep because I've disrupted the pattern, okay? Or I come in and she's chewing on the flower pot and I have her collar on. Now I can correct her for chewing on the flower pot. Like another dog biting her, okay? So it's hard for people to think if the dog is stressed, right, that you can correct the stress. But what you're doing is you're telling her there's nothing to be stressed about. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you're trying to be breaking the chain of thought.
Yes, okay? But they has to be conditioned correctly first, okay? And that's the biggest thing with remote collar is if it's not conditioned correctly, you can create more problems. Okay, because clients will ask this. I condition correctly, okay? The reason I know is because I get dogs that were trained by other trainers in the city that use e-collar, and they show up and they'll be like this. Okay? And they'll have the e-collar on. And I'll go, how long ago was that dog trained? They go, a year, 2 years ago. I go, that dog was not trained correctly. And they go, how do you know? I'm like, because in 1 to 2 years, the dog should not care about the collar anymore. And they go, yes, every time you put the collar on, they start shaking.
So in principle, you should not use it anymore after a while.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
Okay.
But that tells me that the dog doesn't know what's going on because it's under stress when the collar is on. Okay. Now, in the beginning, that's normal because we're training, they're learning. But after a period of time, they understand, they go like, I know what this means now, that they don't get stressed anymore. Okay. So I had a dog, they actually lived like a block to 2 blocks south of here, had that problem. They showed up, dog was shaking, They didn't like it, of course. I retrained the dog. After the first class, I told them take 2 weeks and then come back to see me. They come back, we were right here, dog was completely calm.
Wow.
And they go, Jesse, like, this is crazy. Like this dog's been like this for 2 years. I go, yes, because he didn't understand what the collar meant. I came, I fixed it. Because the dog was already wearing the collar for 2 years, they were already used to it. They just didn't know what it meant. But once I cleared that up, dog was completely fine. Okay. So that's super important. Is conditioning correctly. The dog has to understand how it turns on and how it turns off. Most people and trainers tend to think of the e-collar as strictly a punisher. Okay. So if she's chewing on the flower pot, punish. I get that, makes sense, right? But let's say they go sit. The dog doesn't sit. Punish, right? The way I do it is I teach everything from the ground up with the collar. Okay. So have you ever pulled up and pushed down to make Ryna sit?
Yes.
You ever done that?
Yeah.
What do you do when she sits?
No.
You let go.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing with e-collar. I start low. I find a number that she feels. I'm tapping, I'm pulling up and pushing down. The moment she sits, everything disappears.
Yeah.
Because it has to be low enough that she can feel it. She goes, I don't like it. Right. But then when she sits and it disappears, she goes, oh, okay. If I do this, the thing I don't like goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes
People
sense.
do it the other way. They teach with the food, and then the dog knows how to sit, and they go, you know how to sit, and then when they don't do it, they punish them. They're not shaping the behavior with the tool.
Yeah, I understand
Okay.
that.
So that's the problem, and that's the most common approach to e-collar is the punishment-based, whereas I do it through, I call it pressure, is low-level pressure, layering it over the behavior, and then once the dog gives it to me, I let go. And eventually, when I press the button, she'll sit, but she's not freaked out because she goes, oh, okay, thanks for the reminder, okay? I know it's hard to kind of envision,
Yeah.
but once you see it, it's like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, I think this makes sense too.
But that element is also something that can help. Like, for example, one of the problems we are facing is that if I leave her now, I don't know where she's gonna go.
Correct, yeah.
So she might go there where the kids are, maybe not. I mean, I know that she's not dangerous.
She will go to the
principle.
dog.
She's never beaten anybody. Or, I mean, our child, 2.5 years old, is.
We have.
I think it's also cause of the stress. Maybe we didn't discuss
possibly,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, possibly.
But
Yeah,
sometimes
but-
they get jealous of one another, so that's also what's happening.
They fight, not fight, but it's like a child for him. It's like
Yeah, it's like a dog. Like they. I don't
Oh,
know,
I see.
like
I got you.
the-
For your
But
son,
she's
correct?
never beaten him in a
no,
dangerous
she doesn't
way.
beat. She
But what I'm saying is that she might go there, and I don't know. In order to come back, we need to go and pick her.
Yeah.
or
So you
wait,
get
or wait,
recalled.
or wait
Yeah.
for her, or wait for her. Just if you wait, she comes back. She
But if
needs
you
her
want her, like-
space.
But if we have the urgency for her to come back,
Yeah, so we should she's not feral in that sense. Like she would run there, she would try to move around. If I do nothing for half an hour, she will come back to me. In that sense, she's not gonna run and
I
do
got
something crazy in that sense.
Yeah.
She's not gonna be controlled. I'm not gonna control her. But
Yeah.
like,
So like with the remote collar, you get control on and off leash. So to answer your question, right? Because you said at some point we don't need it anymore, and I said that's yes or no question, right?
yeah,
Do you guys drive?
no.
yeah.
You okay? Have
We
you
don't
driven
have a car.
before?
We drive, but we don't have a car.
But you've
Sorry.
driven before.
You-
Yeah, we
driven,
both
right?
drive. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Have you been on the expressway, like a highway?
Yeah,
Do you go the speed limit?
yes and
So
no.
this is Italian, of course. you
I'm Italian, so you're asking to
There are no
the,
rules
to
that
the
it doesn't
worst
break.
person
So.
possible.
So like here in the States, right, is most people speed on the expressway.
Okay,
They see a cop car, what do you think happens?
you slow down.
slow down. They leave, they pass the cop car, what do you think happens?
No, yeah, I think the concept is very clear to us, I think.
It's an opportunistic behavior.
Yeah. And we cannot even communicate with the words, so this is also just a way of communicating.
Correct, right?
That's it.
So ideally with correct conditioning and training, and you guys do the homework, right? Is she'll have the collar, but you're not always using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Ryna, come. She comes. But then maybe one day she sees like a rabbit,
Yeah.
right? And she's like, oh, and she goes and you call her. She's like, it's a rabbit, right? It's my favorite. And nope, you have to come. So you have the ability to reinforce, okay?
Okay.
People tend to, they're led, and at least here, by the idea of the dog becomes a good dog. You ever heard of that?
No.
here it's like a myth. It's a saying where the client goes, when does the dog learn to be a good dog?
Ah, okay.
Meaning the dog will choose.
Ah,
Dogs don't choose that.
okay.
That's not a thing. Dogs choose what benefits them,
Yeah.
right? So like her chewing on your flower pots, chewing on your shoes, right? That doesn't benefit you. That benefits her, right? So when we go out into the world, if she sees things that benefit her that are of more value, or that are willing to question the consequence, she's going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's nothing good or bad. It's just animals, like humans do it. You know, so that's why I use
They're
that
all
driving.
economical agents, you know,
Yeah.
optimizing our utility.
So it's kind of like with kids, you know, if my mom, this actually happened. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, okay, by like 7 years. She didn't want to load 4 kids into the car to go get groceries. Groceries was just like a block away. So she's like, Jesse, because there would be times where I would be grounded, no TV, right? Jesse, watch the kids, but also no TV.
Okay.
I got to go to the grocery store. What do you think I did?
Wow.
Turn on the TV, right? Oh, I heard the car pull up, turn off the TV. Did you watch TV? No, mom, right? Opportunistic behavior. So you should not always be having to press the button. I agree.
Okay.
But the
I hear.
collar will simply be present, and it's only when you need it.
Okay.
Inside the home, I expect at some point she won't need the collar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only time a dog may need a collar in the home is like, let's say you're having guests come over. If she gets too excited, or does she get? Do you have guests come over?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
constantly get
How is she with the guests?
She's very good.
Okay, then we have no problem there.
Yeah,
Very
but
good.
the guests are staying over in that sense. It's
Yeah.
not like
I don't know.
she can get excited, not in a negative manner, but she gets excited.
And excitement is fine. You know, I get dogs that when someone enters the home, they like bite the person, like
No.
obviously stuff like that.
No.
Yeah.
She's
So if she's completely fine with people coming over, then chances are in the home, you're probably not going to be using it that much after the initial, you know,
Okay.
stages or whatever.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, we're going for a walk. Oh, she's going to be off leash. Oh, we're going to the dog beach. Oh, we're going to take her out for a picnic. You have the collar on, but you're really not doing anything with it. It's just in case, right?
Okay.
Like I've had clients where the most common thing is a firework. It'll scare the dog. The dog runs away.
Yeah, that will happen once with her.
Okay.
She
With-
ran at home. I mean, because
Yeah,
we were
she runs
here.
home. She doesn't
She knows
run
where to
away.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
So obviously that can be dangerous because if she gets lost,
Yeah.
2, if she gets hit by a car, right?
Yeah.
Is I want to know in case something happens in the environment that I was not planning for,
Yeah.
I have the
Okay.
ability to still return the dog, right?
Okay.
So that's the way I always look at things, because people tend to think of e-collar as only for bad dogs, and I go, no, all dogs, even good dogs, should be trained on a remote collar because anything can happen with any dog. Okay.
Okay.
So with the remote collar, it's very common to see, and I would expect to see more stress from the dog.
Okay.
Okay, because it's a uncomfortable feeling. Okay, it's unnatural. They're not meant to have their muscles twitched, right? But in time, through conditioning, she gets over it and she realizes, oh, if I do this, it turns off. If I do this, it turns on. So I'm just not going to do that
Okay.
to keep it off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in the beginning, there might be some stress. It's only in relation to the collar. It's not constant.
Okay.
Okay, so if you started doing training with her and then after the training session, you know she's a little bit stressed, that's perfectly normal. Okay, we have to continue in exposing her in order for her to get over it. Okay,
Okay.
what people tend to do, hi sir. Yeah, this headphones on. I just don't know other people's dogs.
But she's quite relaxed.
So through the conditioning, she gets over it. Is when people see the dog go under stress, they tend to do less. Okay, it's very common, and that does not help the dog.
Okay.
Okay, it's the opposite. You
Being
want to do
constant.
more. Exactly. Okay, you always want to do more.
Okay.
Because that's what helps them get over it faster. So I understand the human is coming from a good place, but they're doing a dog a disservice.
Okay.
Okay, so like the people that are in the ambulance, right, the EMTs, whatever, they see like crazy stuff. The first day, obviously, they're going to be under a lot of stress, and then they go back again, and then they go back again.
Yeah, you adjust.
You just get
basically.
used to it.
Yeah.
Me, I work with aggressive dogs for a living. That's what I do. In the beginning, I was stressed out. Now I'm like this, and everybody else is like this, right?
Yeah.
But that's because I'm used to it, right?
Yeah.
So same thing for dogs like Ryna, because she already has a genetic predisposition towards anxiety, nervousness. You're going to see an increase.
Okay.
You're going to continue to expose her, but this is actually what helps her learn how to handle stress.
Okay.
Okay, is that you put her under stress, controlled stress. we work her through it.
Okay.
So like, let's say you start the training. You might see her trying to run away from the collar.
Yeah.
She's gonna go like this. Okay.
Yeah. Makes
Your
sense.
instinct is to stop, and I work through it, and eventually she's gonna learn I cannot run away.
Yeah.
I have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And then she will now be walking with you, and that's what helps her go, oh, I felt this, I wanted to run away, I felt this some more, I came back, it turned off, but everything is okay.
Okay.
Right? It's counterintuitive to think that if we put the dog under stress, that's what helps them handle stress better, right? But it's because you have to have the appropriate tool.
Okay.
If we use food, for example, if I put her under stress, food is not guaranteed to bring her back from the stress.
Yeah, that's what I noticed also, that it's not for her, like it's not really like food. Okay, it's maybe it's us not using it correctly, but I haven't really noticed a counter. It's not if I am calling her and I show her some food,
No,
she's coming back to me. I don't know, maybe it's me and
No,
I
but
haven't
also,
trained her,
yeah, okay. I
but
think
I
it
haven't
also.
seen that connection necessary.
The other thing about like with the food, if you're outside, remember if she's smelling something
Yeah.
and you go, hey, I have chicken, and she's like, I can have chicken tomorrow,
Yeah.
but I can't have this all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Right? Like
that's also- yeah.
the reward
Yeah.
of the environment is greater than what you have in your hand, and that's why it falls short.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's why
I
for
hear you.
puppies under 6 months, we do food all the time, right? Because they're puppies. But then at a certain point, I go, now it's time for big boy, big girl training. Because
Okay.
I understand, realistically speaking, there's tons of things in the world that at some point the dog goes, I get food all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do I want more food when I can chase
Yeah.
this squirrel or chase this rabbit? Okay, but I always let people know that in the beginning, we expect to see more stress.
Okay.
Okay, we work them through it, and eventually the dog is good. How long it takes, every case is different. It could take 2 weeks, it could take 2 months, but it's just constant practice and repetition, and eventually the dog goes, okay, I don't need to be stressed anymore. And then we start to see, how does it help her in the home? You might start noticing, hey, ever since we started the training, she stopped chewing on things. This is very common.
Okay.
Typically with puppies, so if I get a dog that's 9 months and still chews on stuff, I already know that's a frustration thing. Because puppies chew around 6 months. And then once they're done teething, the chewing goes away. Okay. So if a dog is still chewing, it tells me frustration. Now, are there dogs that like to chew? Absolutely. My dogs love to chew. But they chew on the stuff that I give them. They don't
Okay.
chew on my furniture,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So when that happens, I know it's frustration. So I get clients, they'll do the first class, they come back and they go, the dog stopped chewing. I go, great. Like it fixed the problem. Okay.
Okay.
Other questions?
Are we talking about this after using this collar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. With the training.
With the training.
Yes, yes. Now let's say the chewing doesn't stop. Then I go, no problem. We can correct the chewing now with the collar.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why I mentioned in the beginning, she might need to wear the collar in the home so you can correct these behaviors.
Okay.
Ryna?
In terms of what I would recommend,
Yeah.
because of course you want the obedience and stuff, right? We want recall. She needs to learn how to walk correctly on the leash.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every dog needs to learn that. That's one of the most important things with the remote collar. Is the first thing that we always teach is how to walk on the leash.
Okay.
Okay, because most people walk their dogs 3 times a day, 7 days a week. So remember, we want to do consistent, right? So we
Yeah.
always teach heel first, so we can practice the collar 3 times a day, 7 days a week. So if she is getting stressed, it's okay. We're going to get her over it faster because we have a controlled exercise that we do all the time.
Okay.
Okay. Then you come back. Well, actually, are you trying to do in person, or are you trying to do like a daycare and train, board and train?
As you suggest, like we are doing already the daycare there,
Yeah, yeah.
so it might be an opportunity, but I don't know. We're looking for.
So
Jesus Christ.
the best approach is always in person, okay, for the client, because I teach you to teach her,
Okay.
so you learn more.
Okay.
Okay. The problem is, this gets very cold, and I start moving back to my facility. So I'm
Okay.
only here in the spring once it stops raining, the summertime, and then a little bit into the fall. But eventually it gets too cold that I start training at my facility.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if getting to my facility is a problem, then you could do like a daycare and train. Okay. So the pros and cons would be with in person, you're doing the training.
Okay.
I teach you to train her. If there's any emotional discomfort for you, right, it's normal. Is you, since it's you doing the work, you're able to get over it. Okay. The con with in person is it takes longer. So pro is you learn more. Con is takes longer.
Okay.
With the daycare and train, you learn less. Okay. But it's faster.
Okay.
Because I tell clients, think of 1 week with us as 3 weeks of your time.
Okay.
Okay, I get things done very quickly because I'm a dog trainer, so
Yeah.
what I do, right? But you learn less. The other issue with daycare trains and boarding trains is that if Ryna, for whatever reason, so I have 127 levels. Let's say her number is 80, okay, which can happen. And I'm doing it and she's doing good. And I go, hey, here's your dog. Everything's great, right? I send you a video that shows all the training. And I go, her number is 80. And then you walk away and you go, 80? That's really high,
Yeah, but that's not
right?
us.
Yeah, what you're saying is that then we need to follow the guidance that are
Correct.
given to us.
And a lot of times, because the client, like, and I don't know what's going to happen until I start, right? Ryna is a small dog. I've had small dogs have very high numbers. So the owner goes, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
My dog's small. Why is it so high on the collar? I go, because your dog is, they're tough. They're meant to bite each other, right? And I get dogs with numbers like a 10 or 15, right? But that's one thing is that I'm fine with doing it. And then when I give it back to the owner, they're not fine with doing it. And then I come back and like, my dog's not listening. The first thing I ask them is, where are you at the collar? And they go, oh, I'm at 30. I'm like, 30 is not 80. Okay. Now, when we do the daycare and trains and boarding trains, because it's super important that you understand how this works, is I film the first lesson of everything that I teach. The heel, the sit, the stay, the down, the come, the place. Okay, I film it. And I make a video, it's about 2 to 3 hours long. It's a long video. And I send it to you, okay? So let's say she starts panicking. She's trying to run away. You will see me work with her and fix the problem.
Okay.
Because you have to understand how to do that. So then when I send you the video, you're watching it, right? Ideally, by the time you get her back, it's gone, right? But sometimes the dog goes, okay, Jesse made me do it, but will you make me do it?
She's one will do that.
So then you have to follow
100%.
through.
Yeah, but I think we are strong enough to follow this. I think we are
No,
not.
if we do that, of course, we need
We're
to
not
follow.
we're not gonna play with any of it. You're the experts, and we follow.
I appreciate
follow what you
that.
say. Like,
But that's the most difficult part is the emotional aspect
Yeah,
of it.
I know.
You know, I've been doing this for so long. Obviously, like I'm desensitized, and I've seen dogs start out bad, and then I see the other side.
Yeah.
Whereas for the owner, when in the beginning they're just seeing that side, right, and that's what makes it difficult for them. And I go, it's normal. You got to push. The other thing is, I tell people like I don't want to start a process, and then when I give the dog back to the owners and they don't follow through, it's like I put the dog through all that for nothing.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
It's like a.
So like our son, he had to have a procedure because he cannot
After
he
the
cannot-
chewing, I think.
he can't latch,
Yeah.
Okay.
so they had to laser the thing, and I have to massage him. Okay, I don't like massaging him. But I do it because I understand, well, we did this procedure, and if we don't do it, and it goes back to what it was, we literally put him through this for nothing, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, but it's with the dog.
Yeah.
Okay. In regards to if you do it, the training yourselves, I probably at minimum, so we do 3, 6, 9, and 12 week programs. Put you around 9-ish. Okay. It's once a week for an hour. If you go out of town or whatever, no big deal. I just don't see you for the week, or we reschedule for a different day. Is the first 2 classes are heel, how to walk on a leash. Third class is typically recall, come when called, right? And we're gonna do behavior stuff. But I want to see what does the training in the beginning fix, right? So if you're like, hey Jesse, like we did the first 2 classes and her chewing has stopped, I go, great, like that's how I wanted it to happen, right? If it doesn't, you let me know, and then I tell you how to address it. The 4th week we do stationary control, like go to your bed. So if you want to go to a restaurant with her and just have her be still, you can do that. 2 to 3 hours, she'll sit still. We'll cover all the commands: sit, stay down, come, place, heel. And then if you want to get up to off leash so that you can have her here, we can do that within 9 classes. Okay. The only thing that would be a variable is her behavior, but her behavior is mild in my opinion. So that's why I'm not factoring in. Otherwise, I would tell you, oh, you want to do 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we have more time to address the behaviors as well. Let's say you do 9, and then you only end up using 7 or 8, and she's great and you're happy. We can always convert the remaining class to credit or something, and then you can use it. You can.
Ryna! Stop. Hey. stop.
Ryna.
Bring it back. Then you can use it towards like daycare boarding. Okay.
This
Yeah.
is her. This
Yeah,
is
so
her.
you're
She
not
gets
gonna, it's not gonna
excited.
just sit there. Yeah, it's okay.
No, you know the problem we have, Jess, around this is, so the thing is, we are here alone, Ingy and I, with 2.5 years old. So the problem is every time, yeah, if we do it in person, we need to understand how this can work.
Yeah, I think we just need to discuss it. My instinct is the same, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of the situation, you know,
And
it's not,
like,
it's
just-
not that we have someone that
no.
can take care of
We
them.
are tiny, but then like just like our life is very cramped in that
Sure.
sense. We both.
So then the other option would be.
And that's just in other way, like you know, when you're talking about this, you know, we need to find this balance, because if she's stressing me out to Sarah out, it's not good for her either, because she does.
Yeah, it's a.
You know,
It's a
we
loop,
build this
right?
loop in that
It's
sense.
a spiral.
So we need to cut that somehow.
Yep. So the other options would be you can do daycare and train. So like a 9-week in person would be like a 15-week daycare and or 15-day daycare and train, or you could do a 3-week board and train. Completely up to you, right? So if you're going to go out of town,
Do you have any recommendations?
that's what I'm recommending. A 9-week in person, right? Remember, 1 week of our time is 3 weeks of your time. So any one of those options are available to you.
Okay.
And Tina will send this to you.
Okay.
So the daycare and train is like daycare, but we're training instead.
Yeah, maybe I
Okay.
would go for that. Like now, I don't know.
Let-
Then
let-
we
look
can
at
think,
it.
but maybe that could be a good one to.
I have the same instinct, by the way. It's like,
Yeah. And so with these programs, remember, you do get a video.
Video?
Okay. So with the 15-day daycare and train, you're going to get a total of 3 videos. The first one is the longest, about 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
The second one is about anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. It's shorter because the first week is where all the training and learning
Okay.
is. The third week is even shorter. It's usually about 30 minutes.
Okay.
With the board and train, we have her overnight for 3 weeks solid. Okay.
Okay.
With the daycare and train, we just have her during the day. We would pick her up,
Maybe
train,
I would. Yeah.
drop her off.
so if you do this board, not daycare,
Mhm.
do we then train ourselves when we are taking for a
Through the
walk?
video.
Yes. So once you get the video, so for the first, I would say 3 to 4 days of the daycare and train, expect her to be the same.
Okay.
Okay. And then you're going to get your video. Then you're going to watch the video, and then you can start doing your part at home. Okay.
So usually what we do, we come out, we let her run.
Mhm.
We don't really take her, I take her sometimes for a walk, but it's mostly just she passes half an hour running around,
No,
doing
but,
something
yeah.
crazy. So probably we need to stop that tiny bit.
In the beginning, so you can
You will guide
prioritize
us.
more training.
Yeah, you will
Exactly.
guide us, right? What
Correct.
to do.
And then eventually, as you're seeing, like, wow, she's doing really good, then we start to do a balance.
Okay.
So walking a dog like this is more exercise than letting her run around.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Interesting.
Right now, all you have is running around. That's
Ah.
perfectly fine because of the focus.
Ah.
Right? So walking like this takes focus, and then plus we have the physical aspect of it, right?
Yeah.
So for example, I used to live over by Webster and Clifton, okay? So not that far. I would walk my dogs all the way from there to the lakefront like this, okay, the entire time. We got to the lakefront, I would stop, they would sit, I'd take off the leash, break, they'd go and they'd chase squirrels for 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes. I would call them back, they'd come back, we'd walk all the way back.
Okay.
Okay? So we're mixing structure,
Okay.
control with freedom.
Yeah.
What people
Okay.
do is freedom with control that they can do, and that's where the dog gets stuck.
Yeah. We do
Okay.
that.
No, good. Good.
So
But also
I'm not.
because it's much more stressful for us to walk that way
Yeah, I know.
right now.
Right now, correct.
Because she's going pushing or
She
stopping.
is very aggressive on
I
the
mean, we
knees.
walk her, but
At least
yeah.
me.
Yeah. No, I want you to be able to walk Ryna with a slack leash. Like
Yeah.
you get up to no leash. You can walk a dog like this with no leash. Okay?
Okay.
The training gets that advanced.
okay.
And we cover that within the in the 15-day daycare and train. Like we'll build her to that, and then you are catching up to her training, so to speak.
Okay, that's
Okay.
Stop. Sit.
And you also get follow-ups, right? So like let's say, because the winter's going to come pretty soon, right? Let's say you start the program and everything, you're doing what you can, okay? But you're noticing some issues. And then the springtime comes and you want to train here, right? You call Tina like, hey, we have a follow-up, we have our follow-ups, we'd like to book one.
Okay.
I meet you here, I ask you, what are you struggling with? A lot of times people struggle with recall. That's the most difficult one for people,
Yeah.
okay? Not because it's hard, but because remembering all the pieces,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
So then we'll do a session and I'll show them how to do it. So you do get follow-up still with me,
Okay.
but I'm helping you close the gap on anything that maybe you didn't understand.
Okay.
Or like, let's say for whatever reason, there's an issue, there's a new behavior problem
Yeah.
that we didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me if you want me to help you come fix it. You have the follow-ups, I'll come fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a all of this is meant to help the client to be as successful as possible. So other boarding trains, because again, I had other trainers' dogs. I have had clients do 4-week boarding trains. Okay, 4 weeks is a long time. They come back to pick up the dog. They'll spend 30 minutes and they go, thank you, goodbye. And that's it. And I go, 30 minutes for 4 weeks of training? I'm like, there's no way you learned everything that dog learned in 30 minutes, right? And then they have a lot of problems. With the 15-day daycare and train, I believe you get at least 3, maybe even 4 hours of follow-up. So that's 3 to 4 1-hour lessons.
Okay.
That's a big difference, okay? Plus you get the training videos.
Okay.
So all of those things together are meant so that a lot of the clients don't even use all their follow-ups, because 1 or 2 follow-ups plus the videos is everything they need to get the dog to be off leash or whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
And Jess, would you do this training now? Or would you wait her to settle down a bit?
Whenever you want.
Whenever you want.
Yeah.
Settle down meaning.
Yeah.
No, like
Ideally, like
know,
technically speaking, ideally, the moment you bring a dog home, training starts, because
Okay.
you're setting.
yeah,
the routine
the
right away.
routine, right? Yeah.
So that's why for us, when we get dogs at my facility, even if the dogs have a problem with the owner, we don't see it at my facility,
Yeah.
because day one, it's structure, right? But for humans, they bring the dog home, they feel bad, right? They're guilty, they give a lot of love,
Yeah.
and that's what the dog is learning, and then problems are created, and then we have to come back and retroactively fix the problem,
Yeah.
right? Whereas if I got a dog from the shelter or whatever, day one, we're training, we're learning boundaries, we're learning
Yeah.
rules, everything, okay? So yeah, she's perfectly good to start it now. It's just completely up to you.
Okay.
Just keep in mind, of course, that when you're doing the follow-up, like when your own training, like it's gonna get cold.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I try to remind people is, we can train at my facility, no problem, because I'm indoors. But then when the client's trying to practice the training on their own,
Yeah,
start training
We're
outdoors.
always outdoors.
We're
you
always
know.
like, the cold is not gonna kill us, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you guys from Iceland?
I'm Icelandic.
You're
she's,
Icelandic, okay.
she's Italian. But I'm been
How
living.
close to get over there?
It's much warmer than here. But
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so crazy.
No, that's not really.
Well, it's because
It's around freezing in the winter. It's not like
no, it
20.
doesn't go down like
Like
here,
below.
like that Siberia
you
weather.
guys are
no.
right next to the lake too.
Yeah.
How long have you been here for?
A year.
1 year.
Okay, so you've already been through a winter.
Yes.
And this was a mild winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we come from Northwest Europe, so it's
Okay.
not like.
We were in Amsterdam before,
it's not
so
like
even
a-
there was pretty cold
I
during the
gotcha.
winter.
Yeah, and also when it's cold, there it's dry.
I see. Yeah.
So in Northwest Europe, it's humid, so it's much colder. It sips into everything.
Yeah, yeah. No, here, especially off the lakefront with that lakefront breeze.
And to be
Yeah.
honest, based on who we are, I cannot stay indoors for more than half an hour before I go
Yeah.
cabin. I get cabin fever. So,
We're always
Right, good.
so
outside.
So
that's
then
not
you'll
an
be good.
issue.
Yeah. So
I
yeah.
think we should do this now. I think we've been having guests over for the last few months, so it's like a good transition.
Sure.
And sometimes her behavior, she really gets to me. Like,
Any other questions?
no, I think it's always this balance. I want things to be free. I want them to chase squirrels.
Oh
I
yeah.
want that,
No, for sure.
so I don't want to discipline it away in that sense. But
Yes.
like,
So
finding that
we don't
balance
wanna-
is tricky.
Yeah, we don't want to have a robot,
Yeah.
right? So like my dogs, when I let them chase squirrels, like my dogs have very high prey drive, and they're 15 years old. They are crazy for the squirrels, but the
Yeah.
moment I call them, they leave.
Yeah.
Right? I want them to have the freedom to be a dog. They're
Yeah.
predators. That's what they're supposed
Yeah.
to do. But at the same time, when I call you, that's done.
No, I thought it makes perfect sense to me. Like, in the end, we have no way to communicate with her. So like this conditioning is the key.
Yeah. The collar I would recommend for you, because how much was she, like 35, 45 pounds?
32 pounds.
32 pounds? Okay.
And we haven't waited for a long time.
Okay. The collar, and Tina's going to send you this information. The collar I'd recommend is the black edition. It's meant for a bigger dog. The only reason why I recommend it is because I don't know what her stress levels are like. Okay. So we want to factor in that in case she goes under stress, we have enough power to override the stress.
Yeah.
Okay. All it means is more from less. So I could put it on my Chihuahua. He's 8 pounds. It's perfectly fine. He would just have a really, really low number. okay? But it gives you a bigger window, so in case something happens, in case there's a firework, I'm not really worried about, am I gonna be able to override her fear
Yeah,
here?
because I think she will be. You will
But she's
see her
getting much less than before.
Yeah, I mean, she's looking good. I've been watching her. There's only a couple of points where I saw her go under stress. One was when I talked a little bit louder and it caught her off guard.
Yeah, she's sound sensitive, like.
And that's something that if you'd like, when you have her at home, when you see her go under stress, right, out of nowhere, sometimes there might be a sound outside, you know? So I'll tell clients, like, try to, if she goes under stress, I try to flag whatever happened within that moment. So when I saw her jump, right, I saw her jump right when I spoke louder.
Yeah.
So I tied those two things together. You heard that big loud ding that came through right now?
Yeah,
If, for example, if she went under stress right when that happened,
Yeah.
I know it was because of that.
yeah.
So she's not doing it for no reason, in my opinion. I think something is happening environmentally that we're not aware of, but you're so used to it
Yeah.
because we're in the city,
Yeah.
right? But for the dog, especially with her being only 3 months with you guys, 2.5 months, right? She's still acclimating, and that might be a catalyst of what's setting her go under stress. It just helps you understand your dog. It's not really like going to help you fix her, but the more you understand her, the easier life is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very true.
Other questions?
No, I can't think about anything right now.
No, I think we're good.
No,
I think
we addressed the main topics.
Yeah, I
and
think you're dealing with the key issues.
Ryna,
in that
you
sense.
see,
Yeah.
you see
Just
now
like with
she's
children,
like she
you
can
can-
push out of the blue like this.
It looks
She
like something
smelled
caught her
something.
nose. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's smelling. Well, Tina will send you
Okay.
everything.
Okay.
And then my recommendations. And then whenever you want to start her, you can. And like, because I know she's coming to daycare.
Yeah.
If you started her daycare and train, then obviously she's doing daycare and train. And
Okay.
then when you want, she'd come back and then start her daycare again.
Yeah, we can do that.
But yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
much
because
it.
the other thing that might happen, like we are flying to Iceland for, I was thinking about that, but I don't think it's
for
I would,
Christmas.
for Christmas, 2 weeks.
Okay.
And so I wanted to,
Just let
I
us-
wanted to meet you today and then to discuss this with Maria because we might need some boarding there, but will be 2 weeks. And honestly, maybe we can start now with this.
I think it's good to do.
I think it's good to do the daycare.
So what you could also do, knowing that you're going to board her for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
is you could do a 5-day daycare and train just to start the process.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you could do a 2-week board and train when you're
When we fly.
And now then since I have her for the 2 weeks, we're just training the entire time.
Okay.
That's another thing you could do too. So you have options.
Okay.
You could do daycare and train purely and then just board her later, or you can just do that.
Okay.
So you have the training to start, and then you do that in the meantime, and then when you guys do your trip, she's doing a board and train. And
Yeah,
then
but
I can
also
do the
we are
rest.
going to California, so like we have all of those trips everywhere.
Yeah. Maybe we can.
I think we just need to sit down and look at the calendar.
Yeah, figure it
Yeah,
out.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
Read your
Okay.
email and.
In regards to like your trips and our training, it doesn't impact the training, just so you know. Because
Okay.
clients usually get worried about it. It doesn't impact. What I would recommend for the daycare and train, because it takes me 3 days to get all the
basics.
film,
Yeah, okay.
is doing it 3 days in 1 week, so I can get all that done.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you do 2 days 1 week and then a day the next week,
Yeah.
you're going to wait around
Yeah,
2 weeks.
okay.
Completely up to you though. But it takes me 3 days for the first week to get all the training done.
Okay.
And then you get your video so you can start your own training at home sooner.
Okay.
Okay? But yeah, we have options, and then just figure out your calendar, and then we'll figure out what'll be the best approach for
and
you guys.
also we are very flexible human beings, and like we just want her to be happy and us to be happy about this. So.
I mean, to be honest, from what I can see here, you're probably like around 60%. What I would suggest, like what I would see from what you're describing and everything.
Yeah, but the
You're about
rest is
60%.
critical.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Don't become complacent, right?
No,
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think
No, thank you.
I think you how you approach it kind of distresses me on this issue
Okay.
because
Yeah, nothing I haven't seen before. I get dogs way worse. You know, again, to me, this is a mild case. We'll just see what her anxiety looks like once she starts the training, and then again through consistent repetition, she'll get over it.
But I'm happy what you said about the drugs because at some point 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago when we scheduled the appointment, I was like, maybe we need to put her under drugs again. You know,
Yes,
those moments where we were like,
yeah, but she tiny bit after we took her off, she tiny bit
And
had
then
a
we started-
crazy face.
yeah, I don't know.
No, the drugs.
And you went away to Ireland.
The way I look at it is, dogs don't give each other drugs.
No.
right? And
Yeah.
someone, I had some, because I remember I had a seminar and somebody was arguing with me, and she's like, well, dogs don't shock each other either. I go, no, but they bite each other, and it's just the
Yeah.
closest that I can get to a bite as a human.
That's interesting.
You know?
I never, yeah.
I had a dog, his name was Doug. His name is Doug. Gabapentin, trazodone, fluoxetine, all three. And he was still trying to kill me during the consultation. His video's on my Instagram.
wow.
Yeah, is a pit bull. It's a short little fat pit bull. You see him like going crazy. They kicked him out of his boarding place, and they're the ones that gave him all the drugs, and they wouldn't help him. And then he came to me. He's off all the drugs. No gabapentin, no fluoxetine, no trazodone. He's doing great. You know, like it's just people are lazy. You know, if they want to lose weight, take a pill.
Yeah.
Or your dog, you know, chases dogs, take a pill. Like all this stuff is just take a pill.
Yeah.
And I'm not against it. Like I know there's times where it's necessary, but when it's just the first thing that you do, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. But then you need to.
No, I
to
think
cope
she,
with pain
I think she
anyway,
got
so-
done with a sensory overload when it took her off.
Ryna, come.
Like,
Sure.
And she is adapting to that slowly.
Thank you, Jess.
Yeah, thanks.
problem.
You keep in
If you have any
contact.
questions, you let us know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
And then